Hello, everyone. Just a couple things before we start today's episode. I was away on vacation last week. I just had a little vacation away with my family. It was lovely, but I definitely could not record or do the podcast. So I'm going to be releasing two episodes. This one is out today, obviously, because you're listening to it. The second part is going to be out Monday morning. Now, this part is very Summer House heavy. Most of the episode is Summer House, but I do get to cover Salt Lake City news as well at the end. But stay tuned because Monday morning's episode is going to have basically all the other shows, all the Housewives shows that there's news about, Southern Hospitality, Southern Charm, Next Gen NYC, Vanderpump Rules, Married to Medicine, Valley, Miami, New York, OC, New Jersey, Beverly, like all that stuff. Okay. So stay tuned for that. And if you're looking for ad-free episodes, don't forget to head to my Patreon, patreon.com/Bravo and Botox, where you can get every episode ad-free every month. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA is heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily, also known as Bravo and Botox, here to give you all the news, tea, gossip, all that kind of stuff. And the rumors, definitely the rumors, because the rumors of West and Amanda they're swirling. I mean, they're taking over the internet, right? Really, the Bravo internet, that is. And I've got everything, every piece of quote unquote circumstantial evidence, because that is what it is. Circumstantial evidence that is on the internet. I have, and I'm ready to share with you because listen, last night, Friday night, because I'm recording this on Saturday night, I was exhausted from like a crazy week and I didn't want to do anything productive. I was just like, I'm lying on the couch and I'm scrolling all night. And I got sucked right into the West Amanda vortex and I spiraled. I'm not going to lie. There was some spiraling and, looked at kind of every piece of footage and, TikToks and reel and like just the whole thing. Okay. So I've gathered it all up and I'm going to go through it with y'all here. And I'm going to also tell you how, to what extent I think it's true or not. Now, let me just start with that because I've already talked about that on past episodes when the rumor first hit. I always said, this was my initial thought, there is always a possibility. And I could see, like, it's not crazy to me. Like, I've always thought that. I would, like, not that I've always thought West and Amanda would like each other. I've always, like, just nothing like this can surprise me in the Bravo world. And not just because of Scandival, but just because, we don't really know these people. Like, we can create like a character sketch and kind of put together what we can know. And I understand the hypocrisy of that because I'm about to do, a kind of analysis of if they are or if they aren't based on what I do know about them. But at the end of the day, no one knows 100%. And all we can do is kind of make a guess based on the evidence we have. But the reason that I say that about like knowing them is because a lot of people assume it's not true because they seem to think like, oh, well, I know Amanda and she would never do that to a friend. Do we know that though? Like we don't really know. We've only known Amanda in a relationship with Kyle. We've actually never seen her single, first of all. I don't really think of Amanda, and I never have, as like one who's like has like a lot of really close girlfriends. Like she's kind of like she's always had Paige and Sierra, yes, but I've always actually kind of felt like she was sort of like the outsider in that group of three. Like Sierra and Paige were always really close, and it felt kind of like Amanda wanted to be in with those like cool girls, but she like couldn't quite get to the level of closeness that those two had together, right? Like even like outside of the show, you would see like TikToks and stuff with like Paige and Sierra, but you wouldn't see a lot of just like Paige and Amanda hanging out or just Sierra and Amanda hanging out until more recently, because Paige left the show. And and I think I'm not saying like they didn't like Amanda or they weren't friends with Amanda, but I think it was kind of like a coworker sort of friendship. And I think it was sort of a friendship of convenience, and I think like they didn't never like they just didn't have that same level of closeness. Now, that being said, I do think that with Paige leaving, I do think Sierra and Amanda got a lot closer, right? But, you know, it's not like they have like this like long like 20-year history or 10-year, not that Paige and Sierra do, but whatever. But I'm just saying it's not like they have this like super long history of friendship or something like that, you know. And again, like Amanda was always with Kyle, so we don't really know what she's like outside of like this marriage, right? And, here's the other thing. Based on what I've seen on Summer House, Amanda, although she is gorgeous and, kind of has like a beauty and a kind of body that like a lot of people would really want. She's a beautiful woman. She's got this like fame, she's got style, all these things, a lot going for her. Yet, you know, she's very, very insecure. And that, which is okay. I'm not like saying that as like a dig at her. I'm just saying it's true. She needs to work on her confidence and her self-assuredness. And I think, sometimes that comes with age for people. Sometimes with some people, it takes them a bit longer than others. But I do kind of still see Amanda like, even like when we watched the most recent episode where she's like crying about Kyle and saying how like she just like thinks about how like, can she ever do any better than him? And, that alone is like, that's really sad, first of all. But second of all, it does kind of speak a little bit to like kind of who, how Amanda, not who she is, but how she feels about herself. Right. And I does kind of feel like, a lot of like validation and good feelings about herself sort of like revolved around like getting Kyle to kind of commit to her and like having a wedding and having all that kind of stuff. And so I don't know. It feels a little bit like Amanda could be the type who would be looking for male validation, especially after going through a divorce, like a public divorce and separation. Like I could see Amanda needing that validation from West. And I've always found her to be quite male centered. Like she was so excited and obnoxious when like Jesse would make those um comments on their Instagram. And then when it was like bothering Lexi, I remember Amanda was like, no, but don't stop doing it. I live for those or something like that. And I was like, you like, come on, like get it together here. Like this is pathetic, right? And, uh, it's just like she seems like she just thrives off of that type of attention. And I could see, and she does kind of come across a lot of the time, and she was like this in her relationship with Kyle, as sort of like the damsel in distress who like kind of needs like the more take charge personality type of guy. And that's exactly what we saw in the most recent episode. Like you see West like quote unquote coming to her rescue and giving her like that sort of like attention and help that she needs. And I know she's been on this like press tour and this PR junket kind of painting herself to be like, I'm finally good with being single and I'm independent and I realize that I might get married, but I might not. And da da da. And, me, as much as anyone else, wanted to believe that. But like, That's PR. It doesn't mean it's true, right? So yeah, so there's to me this is not like crazy. Like there's a whole host of people who are under the belief of the like Amanda would never do that. I am not one of those people. I've never been one of those people. As soon as I heard this rumor, I thought there's a chance. Like I didn't think it was 100% true based on just like nothing, just a rumor, but I did think, yeah, there's a chance that would happen. Whereas other people were like, there's no way, there's absolutely no way. And I think like just some people are a bit more maybe idealistic than me. I don't know. Maybe maybe it's my age. Like maybe being in my 40s, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more like, yeah, a girlfriend would do that to her friend. It sucks, but there are some people who would do that to a friend, not just girls, guys too. And again, there are some girls and guys who are so insecure and need such validation that they will make stupid choices like that, especially if they're drinking or partying or like it's just not like crazy to me like some people are saying it is. So that's my opinion. And, in conclusion, do I think this rumor is true? Absolutely. I believe it all. I think it's 100% true. I think they're hooking up. I don't know if they're in a relationship or if they're in love or whatever, but do I think that they are hooking up and hanging out and all that kind of stuff and possibly catching feelings? Yeah, I do. I do. And again, you can disagree with me. It's totally fine. And I could be wrong, but just based on what I know as of now, that's my opinion, as Tamara famously once said. Okay, so let's go to what is actually happening, like on, social media and why the rumors have kind of spun out of control this weekend. So there's been a lot of speculation based on just like Instagram likes and blinds and things like that. However, the big thing that kind of happened that looked very suspect over the last week or so was that Amanda and Sierra were scheduled to do an Amazon Live together, but ended up doing it separately. So at Face Reality 16 posted this. And if you look back at the press release, okay, this was from March 5th. And it says, Ollie launches Sleep House sweepstakes with a chance to reclaim rest during National Sleep Awareness Month. Okay. And then, they talk about their vitamins, etc. As part of the campaign, Ollie has partnered with Amanda Batula and Sierra Miller, who are known by fans for their love of cozy nights in and bed rotting moments. The duo will host a special Amazon Live session on March 24th, focused on real life nighttime routines, etc., etc. Okay, March 24th comes around and the Ollie thing happens, but it doesn't happen with them together. So they each host a separate Amazon Live with other like random friends who I don't know who these friends are. They each have their own like friend with them, like female friend with them. Who I don't know if it's somebody from Ollie or if it's even like a friend, but they do these Amazon Lives and not together. That is incredible. Like to me, that's the biggest piece of evidence. To me, that's more evidence than like somebody who's like, I saw them making out on the street. Like, like to me, that is huge evidence because they were set to do it together. And the whole idea is that they're the bed bugs and they do the bed rotting thing together and they have that whole thing. So for them to separate and not do this together is crazy. That means that that at the very least means that there is some kind of falling out between the two of them. Okay, so that's one thing. Now the other thing I want to say about this is that Sierra's makeup artist, okay, Casey, liked the post. So Face Reality 16 put this post up saying Amanda and Sierra were scheduled to do the Amazon Live together, but ended up doing it separately. And then, with like screenshots of them doing it separately and all that. And then Sierra's makeup artist likes the post. Now he quickly unliked it, but he liked it. Okay. So he did like it. He took his like off because he probably knew that he shouldn't have done that. And his girl Sierra wasn't ready to confirm or deny or whatever the case is. Not that it's on Sierra to confirm or deny this, because I don't think it's on her, but I'm just saying, like, he probably knew that, like, oh shit, I fucked up, right? So that's another thing. So we can add that to the list. These days, I'm all about quality over quantity, especially in my closet. If it's not well made and versatile, it's just not worth it for me and I don't want to buy it. And that's why I honestly love Quince. The fabrics feel elevated, the cuts are thoughtful, and the pricing actually makes sense. Quince uses 100% European linen. Their cotton poplin is crisp and holds its shape. The gauze is soft without being flimsy. Everything Quince makes is built to hold up season after season. The stitching, the fit, the fabrics. These are the pieces that you're going to reach for over and over. That Quince cotton cashmere sweater has become my go-to. It's light enough for layering, but it still feels luxe. Love it under a jean jacket. And it didn't cost what I thought quality cashmere would. It was so affordable. Right now, go to quince.com/bravo papers for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's a full year to wear it and love it, and you will. Now available in Canada, too. Don't keep settling for clothes that don't last. Go to quince.com/bravo papers for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/bravo papers. I have become a big fan of Olive and June. I've never been one of those nail girlies who's good at doing their own nails and always has them done until now. And now I'm doing my nails on my own at home all the time with Olive and June's Mani System. Olive and June's Mani System has everything you need for salon quality manicure in one box. These are salon quality tools. I love their cuticle serum. It's so hydrating, especially during this really dry winter. And you can choose 6 colors from their huge selection of colors. Personally, I'm loving First Date, the perfect light pink for every day, and Real Toasty. It's a great neutral that just goes with everything. Their polish also doesn't chip. It lasts for 7 days, and using their Mani System works out to be just $2 a manicure. Way cheaper than going to the salon. And I gotta say, doing this at home is extra special for me because now I've been doing mine and then I do my daughter's toenails and she just loves it. We like play salon and she's always loved painting her nails fun colors. And now it's a great activity for mommy daughter time. And don't forget, Olive and June also has press-on nails. They look real, they last long, they have so many sizes so you can find the perfect fit. They're non-damaging. You can basically do a manicure in less than 10 minutes. So visit oliveandjune.com/bravo papers for 20% off your first system. That's oliveandjune.com/BRAVO PAPERS for 20% off your first system. Then we have the Snarkbait Pod, okay, who got a, sort of DM. I was going to say blind item, sorry, but I meant DM about this whole situation. And this was like a couple days or like very soon after this whole Ollie thing. Okay, so at Snarkbait Pod, they have it posted on their Instagram. So if you want to go check it out, you can, but I am going to read it. They say, hi. Okay, so disclaimer, I've literally never done this because I never have tea and I don't know how it works, but I'm a baby snark and have to so I'm assuming that's what their fans are called. And have to secretly share with my girls. My blank has a Bravo page and then it's blanked out and has gotten very friendly with Summer House Cast, Southern Charm, and Southern Hospitality Cast. Also with a lot of other Bravo pages and media companies. My blank got a text from blank who told her that his friend from blank, sorry, this is all scratched out, lives across the way from Amanda's apartment, her place without Kyle, and doesn't really watch the show apparently, but that she got a picture of Amanda and Wes kissing in her apartment. Then it gets back to Sierra somehow, and last night she met up with the girl who has the picture. The girl who has the picture showed it to Sierra, and Sierra confirmed that is Amanda and Wes, and that she is definitely upset about it. Okay, I don't believe that Sierra met up with like some random person who has a picture of Amanda making out with Wes. I just don't believe that. It's just that I just don't think Sierra would do that. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but I just don't think she would do that. But I don't think she would go up to meet with like a stranger. However, things, you get, when it comes to like these things like this, you get like a game of telephone or things get lost in translation. And, sometimes there's a little bit of truth to it, but, details get fuzzed. Could I see maybe this person? So they say this person doesn't really watch Summer House. So I saw people in comments being like, oh, so someone who doesn't watch Summer House would be taking a picture. Well, no, they say doesn't really watch Summer House. That doesn't mean you don't know who they are. Like, I don't really watch Sister Wives, but I would recognize the cast of Sister Wives. And if I saw two of them doing something scandalous and I lived near them, I might take a picture, right? Like, so to me, that's not crazy. I don't know why Amanda wouldn't like close her blinds, but I guess maybe everybody has like a dumb moment where they do that. I mean, I think everyone's had their moment where they've been like, oh, shoot, I just changed my pants and the blind is open. What did I just do? So I don't know. Maybe it was just like, that's all it takes is a moment of a slip up. Or maybe she just saw them. Or maybe she has the picture and she DM'd it to Sierra. That's another possibility. Like, the details could be fuzz, but like, I'm not taking this as like Bible. Like, I don't think all of this is like 100% accurate. This person obviously got some information, whether they got some of it wrong or right, whatever. That being said, I still overall believe this rumor. I don't know if I believe every detail of this DM. Okay, so then they say, apparently the girl didn't want to put it anywhere and expose it in the way. She just wanted Sierra to know after all the rumors flew and after they denied hooking up. Blank said he trusts the source, but that it is a he said, she said situation, and that it's definitely why they didn't do the live together today. Because, so this was the same day as the live, sorry, because Sierra found out last night. Okay, that's all, LOL. Feel free to use the story, but please leave out blank his page's name and my name, please. Love you, girls. So the person, so Snarkbait Pod replied and said, wait, so Sierra didn't get confirmation until last night? Like, were they denying it to her? That's insane. And then the person responded and said, yes, according to blank, I don't know if they denied to her. I would assume they did if they denied on Insta and Watch What Happens Live the other night when West was on. So messed up, but you've always clocked West for being performative, LOL. Okay. Yeah, so that's another kind of, again, flimsy piece of evidence, I admit. But to me, I don't even really need this DM as like as to convince me or to like help me make a decision. Like, to me, the fact that they didn't do the Ollie thing together is a big deal. Okay, so what else do we have? There's other suspect things, right? There's a million others. Okay, I think one of the other big things that is extremely suspect has been Sierra's social media, what's it called? Activity. Okay. So, she has been liking things that that are, and again, you could be like, well, you guys are just reading into it because of what's going on. But, it is, I'm like, the likes are weird. Okay. So number one, as a lot of people have pointed out, she has not liked or interacted with anything of Amanda's in a while. She does not follow the Amanda Batula swim thing. She hasn't liked any of Amanda's posts for quite a while. I think like months. I have to go back and check, but that's something that people have been pointing out on Reddit. The other thing, okay, so here's some posts that Sierra has recently liked. Okay, and I'm not talking like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I'm talking about like a day ago, 3 days ago. Okay. So this is like it's an inspirational kind of quote post. It says, if you're looking for closure, let me tell you this. The lack of respect was the closure. The lack of an apology was the closure. The lack of care, accountability, and honesty, that was the closure. So Sierra liked that. There was another one that says, this is from March 19th. I was their friend, but they weren't mine is a big lesson you learn in life. So Sierra liked that post. Let's see, was there any others? Oh yeah, so there was another one from when was that? March 14th. Me losing respect for you is way worse than me being mad at you. Also liked by Sierra. Another one, what's not meant for you will disappoint you 1,000 times. Also liked by Sierra. I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, Sierra, like, oh wait, original post was posted in January. Yeah, and I think Sierra actually reposted that one. So, yeah, and again, I don't know when she reposted that one, but that is suspicious, to say the least. It's a little bit suspect. The other thing is that there was also a blind or information from Bravo and cocktails. Okay. So again, this came out like yesterday or the day before. When was it? March 27th. Okay. So it says, I may have, okay, wait, I may have to take the loss on this one because this is a good source. Someone, because I guess Bravo and Cocktails was initially like saying they didn't believe this. Someone in fashion working with Sierra's team confirmed Sierra making changes to her plans with Amanda with deals, etc., due to the West situation. She was given verbal confirmation something happened between Amanda and West. Production is trying to get concrete proof ahead of the reunion, but whatever source/info Sierra got, she believes to be true now. Okay, there you go. And then Face Reality 16 posted this and posted one of the comments. And again, anybody can make a comment, whatever, but I'm just saying, just like to add it to our list of circumstantial evidence. This guy at Glen Close 14 said, I work at a steakhouse in Queens, and West and Amanda met for dinner there last Thursday around 4, which, if you ask me, that's an extremely early dinner. It is. They're going to Queens. And then Face Reality replied and said, Queens seems like it's out of the way for them too. And he replied and said, exactly my thoughts. They sat on the same side of the booth too. Interesting. Okay. Again, anybody could make that up. I mean, I don't know why they would, but people do make things up. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. I'm just trying to be fair here, even though I definitely believe it. So you can decide if you believe it or not. Here's the other thing. Paige has liked Sierra's post. Okay, so this was as of yesterday. Paige had liked Sierra's post from 4 hours ago, not Amanda's. And Paige has also not been liking Amanda's posts in the last while. And, I hear a lot of people being like, what would Paige say? And what would her? Of course, she'd be on Sierra's side because Paige and Sierra were always way closer. Like, I know like Paige was kind of brought in and like, Amanda kind of clung on to her and they were, she was supposed to be like the friend who brought her on. But at the end of the day, like I don't think they ever connected in the same way. So yeah. Okay. So what else do we have? The other big thing that people are kind of pointing to is Wes's appearance on Watch What Happens Live. Okay. So listen, he's asked straight up. He was on Watch What Happens Live. When was it? Last week, I think. And, Andy asked him about the whole like West and Amanda rumor. And, they do like a poll, like hypothetically, what would you think about it? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here is exactly what is said. Okay. I'm going to read it out because to me, this and the Ollie thing to me are the two biggest pieces of evidence. Okay. That convinced me that this is true. His answer is not helping the situation because really this whole thing could get shut down in 1 second. All Amanda and West would have to do would be to post an Instagram story, get on that create mode, a la, Lisa Rinna, and say, I am not hooking up with West. We're not making out. We're not dating. This is all BS. Bye. That's all Amanda would have to say. And West can say the same thing and they could go on their way. But the reason that they're not doing that, in my opinion, is because it's true. And they know that Sierra knows something. So they don't want to make a statement. Like, because you could be like, well, they could make a statement and lie. Of course. But the reason that they're not making a statement and lying and shutting all of this down is because then they know that at the reunion, they're going to get called liars. And they're going to get called on it. I'm sorry. Because Sierra probably has some sort of evidence or a picture, or she has someone who told her that she trusts and they know that she's going to call them on it. And they don't want to, like, they're already going to be called, disloyal. Right. And then on top of that, they don't want to be called liars and then also disloyal. So that's what I think. Now, here's the other thing. A lot of people are trying to say, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but I do have to address this before I get to what Wes said on Watch What Happens Live. A lot of people are trying to say that, like, this is all a PR stunt and to no. I'm sorry. Let's have some critical thinking here. This show is doing well. The show is not in its flop era. The show is good. The show is strong. The show has good ratings. The show is I would argue more popular than ever. They don't need to do this. And on top of that, Bravo or whoever would have to get the three of them to agree to this. They're not agreeing to this. Number one, Wes cannot handle this backlash. He doesn't he has worked so hard to try to get his image back after the whole Sierra debacle in the first place. He wants to be liked. You can tell. He wants to be liked. He wants to stay on the show, but stay on the show as a liked character. He doesn't want to be the villain. Okay. Amanda doesn't want that either. She just broke up with Kyle. She's kind of coming off in the I'm a stronger, better woman, single, and she's, I think she knows she's not at the Ariana level, but I think she's also just kind of well, I'm getting that kind of edit of just life is better and I'm getting a glow up and everything's this and whatever. She's not going to ruin that by she doesn't want to become Raquel. Okay. Or Rachel, whatever. She's not going to ruin her whole reputation over something that's not even true. Okay. And Sierra's not messing around with press stuff and making herself look like a fool, especially after she was just so vulnerable about the whole race thing and people, criticizing her for letting these white boys make her look whatever. She's not going to come out and do this. Sierra doesn't want to talk to the press and do all this. So I'm sorry. The press thing it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It doesn't. If you really sit down and think about it. So, okay. So Andy asks West, what do you think of the rumors? West, she's single now and it happened already to other people she's hung out with. But, okay. Why wouldn't you just say it's not true? Why wouldn't you just say, what do you think of the rumors? Oh, it's ridiculous. Amanda and I are just friends. Nothing's ever happened between us. We are just friends. That's the answer. Done. Period. Okay. Why would you say, she's single now and it's happened already to other people she's hung out with. So, what is that? And then Andy said, and Andy even looks so suspicious. So he goes, so you were just hanging out? And then Wes, all of a sudden his voice goes up 9 pitches and he's a 12-year-old boy. We were just hanging out in New York. She said, I got to show the streets a little bit. And then there's a pause. And then he goes, but if it's not clear, that's a very important person to me. And I care about her a lot. Okay. That wasn't the question. What? And then Andy really looks suspicious and he's like, okay. And then Simone, who is the other guest on the show, goes, so that's your homegirl. And Wes is like, yeah, it's my homegirl. And Andy's like, as opposed to a romantic girl. And Wes is like, correct. That's a friend. Okay, it sure took a lot of prompting from Andy and Simone to get Wes to say that's a friend. And what's with the random rant in the middle about how she's very important to you? Sir, this is a Wendy's. I'm looking at this huh? I'm sorry, but I just, if you don't look at that interview and think this man is guilty of something, I don't know. I can't help you. There's nothing I can say to convince you, so I'm not going to bother. Okay. Spring is on the horizon, and it's time to refresh your space with Wayfair. They've got everything you need to organize, style, and decorate your home, all within your budget and style. One thing I've been trying to do is create a peaceful space in my bedroom where I can retreat, read, de-stress, and it's just so true that your space impacts how you feel and your mental health. I added a beautiful accent cabinet that I got on Wayfair to my bedroom space. It has these gorgeous glass doors and a drawer underneath for important documents. I put books in it, flowers, a candle, and it just really suits the traditional style that I'm going for in the bedroom. Now, the space I needed it for was a very particular size, but that's why I love Wayfair, because you can shop by the height and width that you need, and the style and color. So the accent cabinet is perfect for the space, right color, and it goes with the aesthetic of the room. So find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. Before wearing Skims, I have to admit, underwear was always kind of an afterthought for me. Like I would just focus on my outfit, but once I found truly amazing fitting and feeling underwear and bras from Skims, I did start to realize that these make a huge difference in how I feel in my clothes all day. More comfortable and therefore more confident because I'm not even thinking about my undergarments or adjusting or any of that. And now with Skims, my entire top drawer is filled with the most amazing, stretchy, supportive fabrics that keep me comfortable all day long. Recently, I tried the lightweight cotton thong from Skims and I'm obsessed. The feeling is like no other underwear I've worn before. Thongs used to bother me so much throughout the day, but this fabric really just melts on my skin and like I forget I'm even wearing it. Everyone should experience this level of comfort in their life. So go run now. Shop my favorite bras and underwear at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Well, I am going to bother because this is my show and I got to keep going. Okay, so what's the other part that I was going to talk about? So that's one part of the West interview that's suspect. So there's also where they ask him about like him standing up for Amanda with the whole like Kyle, the last episode with Kyle acting like a monster. So Wes says typically with couples, he stays out of it because you're not privy to everything. But in this case, they live together. He heard everything from the start and it was unjustified. He says he also didn't hear the other like thing that Kyle said, and then Andy clarifies when he called Amanda a dumb effing bitch. And then Wes is like, yeah, I'm not like the most activated person, but if I had heard that, like, things would have turned out differently. Like kind of implying like he would have fought him is what I thought. That's what I took from it. Maybe he means something else. So yeah, so to me, I was like, okay, yep, that sounds, yep. I see it. I can see it. Now it's all adding up. And I mean, if we remember, all of this really stemmed from just like the amount that Amanda and West have been hanging out. And they have been hanging out a lot. Like I have to say, like, even if nothing is going on, hanging out with a guy who is like your friend's kind of like ex situationship like all the time and constantly posting like Instagram stories. And even if it is out with groups and stuff, it is a weird thing to do, I think. Like, I'm just putting myself in Amanda's shoes. And like, if I was, if I had some guy friend who was like kind of I was friends with him, but I was also friends with my girlfriend even more. And they were like, off and on and he had kind of screwed her over. Like I wouldn't be like hanging out with this guy nonstop as soon as I'm single. Like it just looks weird. And it all started, there was that post where she's like holding someone's hand, who we all kind of deduced is that guy that I talked about on here, that like influencer guy. But then Amanda's caption was quotes, best day ever. WW as in West Wilson. And no one thought anything of it because everybody thought it was that other guy. And I do think it is that other guy whose hand is in the picture. I know it's that other guy, but it is still weird. The best day ever West Wilson caption. I don't know. I just find that very strange. No, other things that people are pointing out, there's like this video of them out and they're filming for something. And you see like West is eating and he has like goop on his face and Amanda wipes it off. This is from February 22nd. And I think a lot of us like shrugged it off as normal then. But again, if your friend dated this guy and like, they had this kind of like weird breakup and energy, and then you're like out and like wiping it. I don't know. It's weird. Then there's this other thing that in November 25, the internet is just interneting. There's this there's a picture of West and he's wearing this hoodie. And then people pulled up a picture from March 2026 with Amanda sitting with that influencer guy that people thought she was dating, that now I don't think she is dating. And in it, she's wearing West's hoodie. And it's like a very distinctive hoodie. It has like a star on it and like it's gray and I can't tell what it says. But yeah, it is quite suspect that she's wearing his hoodie. And again, even if it is just your friend's situationship and nothing's happening between you, it's like, why are you wearing his clothes? And like, I don't know. I just think that is very odd. Okay. Okay. The other thing from my own stratosphere of Bravo and Botox is I posted a Twitter roundup for Summer House. And, most of it is about the episode and just jokes about the episode and whatnot. But the last like 2 or 3 slides are about the Amanda West rumors. And, just me kind of saying like in one of them that I think it's true. And then there's like another one that just talks about it. But they all kind of, the opinion of the tweets is all that they're true, or that like we're like kind of like, yeah, this seems like there could be something to it. And Ms. Lindsay Hubbard liked this Twitter roundup. So do with that what you will. Now, that being said, there is tweets about Lindsay, so that it could definitely just be that. But I'm just telling you, I'm just saying, so we have all the evidence. And, people are also pointing to this quote from Amanda that she had made in the Marie Claire interview where she says, where she was going on about how Sierra was such a supportive friend throughout this breakup with Kyle. But then she also adds on right after, it's meant so much to me how supportive West has been throughout the season, sometimes in ways I wasn't even aware of when filming. And then she goes on about how that's just who he is and blah, blah, blah. So people are like, they're asking about like Sierra supporting you and you're talking about that. So why are you bringing up West all of a sudden? Which, yeah, I can kind of see that. Okay, so that is all the West Amanda stuff for now. I'm sure there's going to be more developments over the next week. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But believe it or not, we do have other Summer House news besides the West and Amanda rumors. Okay, so let's start with Kyle. Okay, because Kyle, he had a bad episode. Now I gotta say, this whole West and Amanda thing this is like a gift to Kyle, because boy, is this distracting from Kyle's behavior. Because that was a bad episode. I mean, Andy said this was like going to be a really bad episode for Kyle, or the worst episode he's ever had. And I think we as an audience were like, yeah, Andy always exaggerates, but no, it was very bad. And it continues into next week. So there's obviously going to be more, because we haven't even seen where he, I think, tries to fight Carl or throws something at the wall or whatever. But so Kyle did post and he said this was a few days ago. He said right after the episode, there's no excuse for how I acted last summer. The way I spoke to and about Amanda was unacceptable, and it's brutal to watch back, but not nearly as painful as what she's had to go through. Amanda and I have already spoken about all of this, but I felt the need to acknowledge this publicly. I'm truly sorry and regret the way I handled myself. I know nothing can erase the hurt I caused. She never deserved that, and I need to be better. Okay. Yeah, you do need to be better. I mean, you're not with her anymore, so it's too late. But again, that's kind of the best punishment for him, is because, there's a lot of the guys who they are continually selfish and have this kind of behavior, and they really think that no matter what they do, their woman is never going to leave them. Like, they just push it and push it. And then they're always shocked when the woman leaves, And I do think that that's why we're seeing these meltdowns from Kyle. Well, partly one, because he's an immature ass, but also because I actually think that Amanda was like so submissive and like took such a back seat to him for all those years. And I really think that he didn't truly believe that she would ever actually like leave and call it quits. And I think in this summer that we're watching, I think he's kind of seeing her emotionally and mentally leaving. And I think he's realizing that it's actually happening and he's losing his shit because he's like, oh my God, she's not going to put up with me anymore. So, yeah. So, I mean, that's what you get. So, the other thing is that another video came out on TikTok of Kyle hanging out with some college girls. He's absolutely hammered in the video. And the person who posted it said, waking up from a nap and receiving 20 videos from your best friend of Kyle Cook from Summer House. And yeah, these girls are like in their 20s, probably early 20s, I would guess. And he is absolutely annihilated and just like drunkenly, like nothing like, scandalous is happening in the videos. But listen, like, how are you going to be married to someone like this? Like, how are you going to be married to like a 40-something-year-old man who's hanging out with like 20-year-old college girls, getting drunk, is out all night, falling asleep at a fan's house? Like, it's just like, yeah, like it's just not, this is not what makes a good marriage by any stretch of the imagination. Like, it's just crazy. And yet another reason why Amanda may have run into Wes' arms. No, I'm just, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that I could, it's not an excuse to hurt your friend, Sierra, but could it be the reason and part of Amanda's insecurity? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to say that if, not to go back to this, I'm sorry, but if the West Amanda thing ends up being true, I don't have any sympathy for Kyle. I just want to put that out there. I think Kyle is cheated. In my opinion, I think Kyle's cheated on Amanda many times. I think he deserves it. And like from what I see online, no one's concerned about Kyle. And I think that's kind of what he deserves. I'm sorry. The only person I would feel bad for would be Sierra because that is messed up. I do think that's messed up. Okay, so let's go to West on Watch What Happens Live, but stuff that doesn't have to do with Amanda. So he was asked about the whole like Dara being there for fame narrative because Lindsay spoke out. She was doing like I don't even know what it was, like an interview or they were playing like a game and she had to answer a question, but she basically claims that Dara is looking for fame while KJ is looking for love on Summer House. Okay. So then Wes was on Watch What Happens Live and Andy asks him about it and he clarifies, he's like, I hate this like narrative about Dara because she's not there looking like I invited her and she came. Like she didn't do anything wrong. And he's like, also Lindsay was playing a game when she answered that question. So it's not as deep as like everyone's making it out to be, which, yeah, that's fair enough. And, I think some people have kind of been like, suspecting that because of the way that they cut the mid-season trailer and the whole thing with Ben, and people are like, oh, she was just trying to like get with someone in the house and like, maybe KJ was like more like into her and more willing to like commit. So, and it did seem like she wanted to be on the show, but like, and as Andy says in the interview, he's like, everyone who is on here wants to be on the show. Like, this is not like a show where people are trying to stay anonymous. Like, everyone is trying to kind of be famous, which is fair. Like, I do think that is true. And also, KJ was on Watch What Happens Live and he had Dara with him. She was in the audience. And listen, I'm not going to lie. Like, you can tell that they're into each other. You can tell that he's really into her and she's really into him. Like you can tell they're in love. So, even maybe just watching this season from like last summer, you might not be able to see it as much because it was a while ago, but now they've been dating for a while. And I'm sorry, but you can't go and watch Watch What Happens Live. You can't watch it and walk away and be like, this is fake. It doesn't seem fake. So speaking of that, KJ was on Watch What Happens Live. And he's asked what he thinks about Jesse, saying that West isn't ready to be in a relationship. And does he think West is ready for a relationship with Sierra? KJ looks not impressed when he's asked this question. I'm not going to lie. He looks downright like kind of annoyed. And he says West needs to work on himself before he's ready for a relationship with Sierra. Okay. Maybe KJ knows something that we don't know. And then he also says that West's apology to Sierra was meh and he could have done a lot better. So I'm not going to lie, like just his tone and his attitude in this kind of seems like it was weird to me a little bit because, you know, Wes brought KJ on the show and they seem to be good buddies. So for him to kind of like talk about him like this, I was like, okay, maybe like he's he's being protective of Sierra, which I would understand. And maybe also he's like, what the hell, Wes? Like, what are you doing? Like after we all opened up and shared and stuff, about our struggles, so that's why I'm just, as like black people on the show, like, so that's why I'm just kind of like, I do feel like there's something going on. Okay. So KJ says him and Dara are in love, and he even says, I love you to her on the Watch What Happens live set. And she's like, I love you too. They're like, oh, and Andy's like, oh. And then they talk about the discuss about race. And KJ says he felt relieved to be able to have that discussion with his cast members and that it was powerful, which I agree. And Kyle did make actually a post after that episode came out because I'm a bit behind, obviously, because I was on vacation. But after that episode came out, Kyle said, I want to thank Sierra, KJ, and Mia for being courageous enough to have an incredibly difficult but much needed conversation about race and privilege on a predominantly white TV network. There's no way I can come close to relating or understanding what it's like to be in their skin, but thanks to their honesty and willingness to open up and shed light on what they have to go through and think about in front of the camera and in life. I'm so thankful to call them my friends and learn from them. Even though we are filming the same show and being asked to do the same thing, their experience is different than mine and they face such harsh criticism and backlash. A microcosm of what it's like to be Black in America. I'm so proud of them for being brave enough to do this on a show that revolves around partying in one of the most privileged zip codes in the world, watched by a predominantly white audience. Thank you to our cast, crew, and Bravo for creating a safe place. Hopefully, we can continue to tackle tough topics in real, relatable ways because that's what reality TV should be about. So much love and respect. And then he tags the three of them. I mean, that's a nice statement from Kyle. I'm sure, I do think that his actions with Amanda, I can separate them, like I can compartmentalize. So like, I think like he acted like a complete, and here's the weird thing with Kyle is like, he's always able to kind of show a lot of like empathy and understanding for a lot of people except Amanda. That is kind of often what we see. But, this is just a completely separate issue. And, I can give Kyle his kind of kudos and his, this was a good statement. And, I think he kind of showed like understanding and just listening. And kind of gave credit to his castmates when it was due in a friendly, like thoughtful, sincere way. That can be true, and it can also be true that he was an asshole to Amanda. Like they're not the same, they're completely different topics. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that was what Kyle had to say. What else? What else we got? And the other thing that people are kind of talking about with Summer House is that Bailey and Carl made kind of like a TikTok where the two of them are walking down a hallway holding hands, and the song is about like falling in love. And yeah, now then in the video it switches over to Kyle lip syncing, and then it switches over to what's her name? The one who's like getting no screen time, Levi and stuff. So people are like, okay, maybe this is just like a tease. They're just trying to like, drum up attention for the reunion, all that kind of stuff. Is this a hard launch? Are they dating? I mean, I don't know. I kind of think like I'm kind of here for it. Like, I don't know if I believe that they're actually dating, but I actually could see Carl and Bailey as a couple. Like, I don't hate it. I could see it actually. I think it kind of makes sense. But whether it's actually coming to fruition in real life, I don't know. I mean, clearly he's not with Vanita because I just watched the rest of the Southern Charm reunion today, and she said that Carl, in an interview said that the distance kind of got between him and Vanita, and she seemed upset because she was like, well, he said that in an interview before he had spoken to me about it. And I was like, ooh. You messed up, Carl. I mean, who knows? Maybe like things fizzled between them because of the distance and they just kind of stopped like texting or like that can happen. So maybe that's why he thought it was okay to comment on. I don't know. Like, that's me, like, giving him the benefit of the doubt. But I do think that the right thing to do is to kind of like text Vanita and say that first, right? Like, I can understand why she was bothered by that. Okay, so whether he's dating Bailey or not, I don't know. I don't know. But I do think like these long distance, like Bravo relationships, like I know Craig and Paige did it, but unless you live close, it's really hard to like get to know someone and start a relation. It's one thing when people start it closer together and then someone has to move and you maintain it. But to start from far away, I mean, that's a difficult task. It just really is, just to be realistic here. Okay, I think that's all for Summer House. Yes, it is. Are you relieved? I'm relieved. I mean, that was 49 minutes of Summer House. So if you're not a Summer House fan, I apologize. This was such a Summer House heavy episode. However, part 2 is going to come out and I'm going to be covering like all the other shows. Okay. There's going to be like Real Housewives of Atlanta, Married to Medicine, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of New Jersey, like all those other shows. Okay. So I promise that Miami, like everything else, the Valley, all that stuff. Okay. But we do have time for a little bit more for this part of the episode. Let's talk about Salt Lake City, actually, because I have a little bit of news for that. Heather Gay is facing backlash for allegedly copying another. Well, it's not even that allegedly. It looks pretty clear. But allegedly copying the the book art off a best-selling novel. Okay. So Heather Gay had announced, I don't know, sometime recently that she was going to be coming out with a novel. Okay, the novel was going to be like a fiction kind of novel, and I don't know what qualifies her to write it. I guess just that she is famous and wrote a book. Her last name. I was looking at her last name. Wrote a book about her experience in the Mormon church. So I don't know. I guess the publishers think she can sell novels, whatever. Okay, so the book is called Eternal Glow. And the picture of the cover comes out, and it's like a woman looking into like what's it called? Like a pocket mirror, like those little flip mirrors. What are they called? Compact mirror, whatever. And all you can see in the reflection is the nose and lips. And then so when the mirror's like you open it and there's the top circle and the bottom circle that you can look into. So, and they're both mirrors. There's no like makeup. It's just a double mirror. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about right now, guys. Okay. So in the top, there's lips and nose, and in the bottom, it's like cracked. And there's like a woman's hand holding it, and she's got like red nail polish and red lips. Okay. So people are saying that this is a ripoff of Melanie Blake's book cover, which was a Sunday Times bestseller called Ruthless Women. And my God, are they correct? Because it is almost the exact same. So the other cover is, again, the same, holding a compact mirror, a woman in the top part of the mirror, it's the lips and nose, and then the bottom, there's some kind of writing. And then the only difference is that the cracked part is the top part as opposed to the bottom. Like, it's so clear that Heather probably like chat GPT'd this or someone on her team did. And then, AI takes ideas from what's already out there. So probably like put it together from that. So yeah, the author though is calling her out on this. Okay. So the author, Melanie Blake, says, posted this on her TikTok and then, or on Instagram Reels, and then wrote, or was it a post? I think it was a post. And she wrote, I'll address this properly tomorrow as I have tens of thousands of DMs flagging out the ripoff of my Ruthless Women cover by Heather Gay. And she tags her at Heather Gay's publishing team. They do say copying is the highest form of flattery, but it's fair to say, like millions of fans, I'm not fucking happy about it. Okay, tell us what you really think. And particularly stupid to think no one would notice when my book is an international bestseller in 9 languages. As you'll notice, her cover is a mix of my UK design and Czech color scheme editions. So she shows like a bunch of the different editions of her book. And yeah, she's right. It is a mix of those two. Even though the stories are entirely different, the cover snatch is fucking disappointing to say the least. Okay. And then she put like a little um gif on it that's like, do better. And then she wrote as like a caption, women supporting women, eh? Listen, this is what I would expect from Heather. Like, not that I think that Heather went out and like saw this cover and was like, let me rip this off. But I expect like a certain level of, to be honest, just kind of like laziness. Like, I can just see, like, not that I view Heather as a lazy person in general. That's not what I'm saying. But I could just see her team just being like, my client has some fame and some clout, and, let's take advantage of it while we can. How can we make money as fast as possible? Because she came out with that Bad Mormon book that seemed to have like actual substance and be kind of like thoughtful to her experience and stuff like that. And then she came out with a sequel that did seem like, do we need a sequel to this? Like, it just seemed like a kind of a money grab. And then now you're writing like a fiction book. So it's just like, okay, let me AI this cover and not really like put time and thought into it. And she's not writing this book. I'm sorry. And like, to quote Mary Cosby, like, no one's reading that book. Okay. So that's the Heather Gay news. Now, the other thing from Salt Lake City is that Mary has started filming. So, we all know that she was taking a break, or like she didn't start filming from the beginning like the rest of the cast did because of the death of her son, obviously the tragic death of her son. And she needed some time, which makes complete sense. I mean, I would understand if she needed like years. I don't know. Like, I would understand if she needed all the time in the world. But yeah, so she did say that she felt like it would be a good distraction and a good idea for her to kind of like get back to work. And I can understand that as well. Like, because when you're sitting at home and you're not doing anything, we all know that your mind can stew and race, and you could fall into like a really dark place, which I'm sure she's already fighting in the first place because of this tragedy that's happened. So Mary has been seen filming. They took a picture of her with Meredith. It kind of looks like, Meredith is like sort of like reaching out to her in like a kind gesture or in some way to like, put her arm around her or something like that. So I don't know. Like, I totally get why Mary's going back to work. I get why she didn't go back right away. I get it all, but I do worry. Like, and I'm not criticizing her choice at all, but sometimes people like, they want to distract themselves, or they want to like, they think this is kind of the best idea, and then sometimes it can go awry. And I just hope that, I just hope she's okay to film, and that, and I hope that the cast, I think that they would be like, I hope that they're kind of respectful of her situation in terms of like how much she should take part and stuff like that. I'm sure they would be. I really do actually think that they would be. But yeah, I think a lot of us worry about how she's going to handle this. And I think sometimes it's hard to sit and listen to people fight about stupid drama when like you've been through something real that's like serious and real. And sometimes when you go through stuff like that too, you don't sweat the small stuff as much. So, but I can also see how the small stuff can be a distraction. Kind of like, it's sort of I know it's a different situation, but it kind of reminds me of Teddy Mellencamp, because she, like, a lot of people were like, why don't you just like stop recording the podcast? Like, just spend time with your family, whatever. And she's like, listen, my kids still go to school during the day. Like, she's not like stopping their whole lives. And she's like, and on top of that, I need a distraction. And I get that. Like, I really get that. So, wishing Mary all the best as usual. And I hope she's doing as okay as she can in this situation. Okay, we're going to end off there, and then I will see you all for part 2 coming very soon. I've got Valley News, Vanderpump Rules, New Jersey, Beverly Hills, Atlanta, Roni, OC, Miami, Married to Medicine, Southern Hospitality, Southern Charm, and Next Gen NYC. Let's see if I can fit that all into, into one episode. All right. Thank you for listening. See you at part 2. Bye.